Some games are just games. You play them, you finish them, and you move on. But then there are those games, the ones that stick with you for years, the ones you still think about, still talk about, and honestly, still feel. Today we're counting down the top 5 games that no one will ever forget. And trust me, by the time we hit number 1, you'll probably feel a wave of nostalgia hit you like a truck. Game number 5, The Last of Us. Let's kick things off with a game that genuinely changed what people thought video games could be. The Last of Us, released by Naughty Dog in 2013, was not just a game, it was an experience. You play as Joel, a hardened survivor in a post-apocalyptic world, escorting a young girl named Ellie across a devastated America. Now on paper, that sounds like your typical survival story. But what made this game unforgettable was how deeply human it felt. Every conversation, every quiet moment between Joel and Ellie, every difficult decision, it all hit differently. The world was brutal, the enemies were terrifying, and the emotional gut punches came when you least expected them. People cried. Grown adults sat there with a controller in their hands and just cried. The ending alone sparked debates that went on for years. Even today, when someone says tell me a game that felt like a movie, The Last of Us is always the first name that comes up. It set a new standard for storytelling in games, and no matter how many years pass, nobody who played it will ever forget that journey. Game number 4, Red Dead Redemption 2. If The Last of Us changed storytelling in games, Red Dead Redemption 2 took it to another level entirely. Released by Rockstar Games in 2018, this game dropped you into the dying days of the American frontier as Arthur Morgan, an outlaw trying to survive as the world changes around him. And what Rockstar built was nothing short of breathtaking. The world felt alive in a way that no open-world game had ever managed before. Horses got tired. Your beard actually grew. NPCs remembered your face if you caused trouble in their town. You could spend hours just riding through the mountains, watching the sunrise over snow-capped peaks, and it felt real. But beyond the jaw-dropping visuals and the insane attention to detail, it was Arthur's story that truly made this game impossible to forget. It was a story about loyalty, redemption, and the heavy cost of the choices you make. Arthur was not a hero, he knew that. But watching him try to do right by the people he loved, even when everything was falling apart, hit people in a deeply personal way. Red Dead Redemption 2 was not just a game you played, it was a world you lived in. And when it ended, a lot of players sat in silence for a long time, just processing what they had been through. Game number 3, Minecraft. Now we shift gears completely. Because not every unforgettable game is about a gripping story or cinematic visuals. Sometimes, the most memorable experience is one you create yourself. Minecraft, the humble little sandbox game created by Marcus Persson and released back in 2011, became one of the most influential games ever made, and it is still going strong today. There are no missions, no final boss you have to beat to win, no hand-holding or tutorials explaining what to do. You just spawn into a world made of blocks and figure it out. And somehow, that simplicity became the greatest creative playground in gaming history. People built entire cities, they recreated famous landmarks, they made working computers inside the game. Kids who had never thought about architecture or engineering started designing elaborate structures just because Minecraft made it feel possible and fun. What makes Minecraft truly unforgettable though is how personal every experience with it is. Everyone has their own Minecraft story, the first house they built, the first time a creeper blew up their base, the night they finally defeated the Ender Dragon. It became a game that entire generations grew up with, and its cultural footprint is absolutely massive. No other game has brought together so many different types of players, young and old, casual and hardcore, quite like Minecraft has. Game number 2, Grand Theft Auto 5. When Grand Theft Auto 5 launched in 2013, it broke entertainment sales records in its first 3 days. Not gaming records, entertainment records. It outpaced Hollywood blockbusters and album releases, and more than a decade later, it is still one of the best-selling games of all time. That is not an accident. Rockstar gave players the sprawling, sun-soaked city of Los Santos and 3 completely different protagonists: Michael, the retired criminal living a fake perfect life; Trevor, the unhinged wildcard who operates purely on chaos; and Franklin, the ambitious young hustler trying to climb out of his circumstances. Switching between them on the fly during missions was a game changer, and the story weaved their lives together in ways that felt surprisingly deep for a game notorious for its over-the-top mayhem. But honestly, GOGTA V's real staying power came from GOGTA Online. The online mode turned the game into a living, evolving world where players could pull off heists with friends, build criminal empires, race supercars, or just cause absolute mayhem on the streets of Los Santos. Years of updates kept adding new content, new vehicles, new missions, and players never left. GOGTA V became the game that never truly ended. It is one of those rare titles that defined an entire era of gaming, and its influence can be felt in practically every open-world game that came after it. Game number 1, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. And here we are. Number 1. The game that sits at the very top of almost every greatest games ever made, list ever written. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, released for the Nintendo 64 in 1998, was a masterpiece that did not just define a generation, it defined what three-dimensional gaming could look like forever. Before Ocarina of Time, nobody really knew how to translate the magic of 2D adventure games into a fully 3D world. Controls felt clunky, exploration felt confusing, and combat felt awkward. Then, Nintendo released Ocarina of Time and solved all of it at once. The lock-on combat system that this game introduced, called Z-targeting, became the standard for every action-adventure game that followed. The way it handled dungeon design, puzzle solving, and exploration set a blueprint that developers are still following today. But beyond the technical achievements, Ocarina of Time told a story that genuinely moved people. You start as a young boy in a forest with no idea of your destiny, and you grow up, literally, in the game to face darkness, loss, and sacrifice. The music was unforgettable, the temples were imaginative and challenging. The world of Hyrule felt magical in a way that has never quite been replicated. People who played this game as children in 1998 still get emotional talking about it. It was the kind of game that made you feel like you were part of something bigger than yourself. That is the mark of a truly unforgettable game, and that is why, nearly 30 years later, Ocarina of Time still sits at the top. And that is our list. 5 games that left a permanent mark on gaming history and on everyone who played them. From the emotional gut punch of The Last of Us to the timeless magic of Ocarina of Time, these are the games people will still be talking about decades from now. Did your favorite make the cut? Drop it in the comments below, I would love to know which game you will never forget. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.